India should not become a superpower. It disagree with Modi on many things. You may not like him on many things, but no one, not even Modi's sworn enemy, will accuse him of personal corruption. That is a stupid plan to play. BJP is not saying Modi is India. It is these people, Modi's enemies, who are equating Modi and Bharat, and they are saying that anything that is good for Bharat is bad only because Modi has done. India has many enemies in the world, and I'm not just talking about the countries in our neighborhood like Pakistan and China. This is a country that must not become a superpower. And for once, Bharat is all set to regain its Vishwaguru status in the world. Pakistan and in Afghanistan, these are all coming together, and US wants India to rise because India is designating Canada as a terrorist nation because Canada is harboring Palestinian terrorists. And India is saying that we will cancel your OCI cards and PIO cards of people who are accused of Khalistani. In that Bharat is a brave country, is Modi. So they are the ones who are equating Modi with India. Just is going to make my country a very powerful country, and that is the only thing you need.
Namaste and a very warm welcome to the National Podcast. This is Intellectual Exchange with Sri Dharmaravan. In today's episode of the Intellectual Exchange, we are joined by a very special guest, none other than Shefali Vaidhya. She's an author and she's a very well-known social media activist and an activist in ground also. Thank you, Shefali, for joining with us, and it's a pleasure always talking to you. And I think this is our second formal interview or a kind of a podcast which I'm doing with you. Thank you so much for your time, Shefali. Many thanks for giving time in your busy schedule actually, because I know how hectic your travel is, but thank you so much for your time actually. So thank you so much firstly. So I would like to discuss more of an kind of a perspective about anti-Indian narratives which is set by in and out of India, because you are a person who generally discuss about history and other things, but you are also the other set of views, exposing this kind of a persons in whatever the social media. So I'd like to bring about that. So firstly, where is this anti-Indian narratives? Where does this anti-Indian narrative starts build up actually? Because we have been seeing that China has been funding to provide fake news about India as such. So what kind of idea is this, and what is the main tool behind all these things? I think.
See, India, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me. It's always a pleasure, and I'm very happy to talk to you. And you've kind of caught me on a sticky wicket here because this is not really my area of expertise, but I have been studying this phenomenon for a while, so I will try to answer your question. पहली बात तो ये है कि India has many enemies in the world, and I'm not just talking about the countries in our neighborhood like Pakistan and China who actually have a border dispute going on with India. But I'm talking about the countries in the Western Hemisphere who do not want India to rise. It is in their interest to have a weak India. They want India to be around as a counterweight to China, but they do not want a really strong, resurgent India who is very confident, who is very assertive, who can, dictate terms on its own strength, on her own strength. So everybody is scared of Bharat rise, basically. So because of that, there is this global conspiracy which kind of looks at Bharat and says that this is a country that must not become a superpower. Okay. But that is not happening. If you can see, we are already a very powerful economy. The whole world is skewing to us, and we are an effective counterweight to China, being so uniquely positioned in wherever we are positioned in Asia. So obviously nobody can afford to antagonize Bharat as of today, and we have seen it with the very successful launch of the G20 summit in India. Yeah. And we have seen that all the world leaders who came to Bharat were all praises for Bharat's culture, and for once, Bharat is all set to regain its Vishwaguru status in the world. But success has many enemies, as it's happened in individuals also. And if it happens to a country of the scale like Bharat, then obviously we will have many enemies. And those enemies are trying to attack us and trying to lead us by 1,000 deaths. They cannot take us on face to face, so they will try this plant fake news somewhere, try to create doubt amongst the minds of Indian citizens, make sure that separatist movements in India like Khalistan are funded, like you've seen what is happening in Canada, which is really, really stupid. So Justin Trudeau has made a statement saying that Nijar, a guy who was on the terrorist list of the Interpol, was on the global terrorist list. He was eliminated a few months ago. And he has made a statement in the House, in the Canadian House, alleging that India did it without giving a shred of proof. Now, this is a very serious allegation that too done on an official forum. So either Mr. Trudeau should provide proof or he should take back his allegations and say that, okay, these are just allegations. I lied and I don't have any.
Okay.
But this is a global conspiracy in the sense that the multiple enemies of India, which are the Marxists, which are the extreme right evangelical Christian forces, which are mostly based in the US, which are obviously very radical Islamic forces, epicentered in Pakistan and in Afghanistan. These are all coming together, and US wants India to rise because US wants India to become a strategic partner, but they also want India to not rise that much also.
Okay.
You know, they want, it's kind of like how the Naxalites do in Chhattisgarh or in the Naxalite affected areas in Bharat. What they do is that they allow children to go to school. They want the children, the local children, to be literate.
Okay.
But after 5th or 6th or 7th grade, then they don't want any higher education.
Okay.
So they want people to fight for them. One literate who can read all the propaganda materials that they give, but they do not want people to become successful. They do not want people to earn money. They do not want people to become professional, because the minute that happens, that they don't want to follow the violent national ideology. They want to get out of that, and they want to, work towards their own progress. They want to work towards society's progress. They want to work towards their community's progress. So all that the nationalists do not want to happen. But they also want basic literacy. So they will let you progress only up to a certain level, and after that, they will stop the children from going to school. What the global leaders in the world are doing is exactly that. They want India to become powerful enough to be a counterweight to China. So China is one pole, Bharat is one pole. वहाँ तक ठीक है. But उससे ज़्यादा if India gets powerful and India threatens their economy, India threatens their position, then they will not want India to rise. And it is but natural. And all this while, India's foreign policy was not assertive enough. Right now, we have a foreign policy that has only one goal in mind, which is the self-interest of India, and which is exactly how it should be. So that is why India is willing to try all options. India is willing to talk also. India is wishing to engage in diplomatic missions. India is also not afraid to use force. And India is assertive in all the global fora. And this is a very, very good thing happening. And we are not no longer trying to be non-aligned. We are saying that our prime priority is that our country should be strong, our country should be supported globally, and our country should become a superpower. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
So that is why India is now showing real guts in taking on countries like Canada, which would not have happened even 25, 30 years ago. So India is now telling Canada that we will stop issuing visas to your national. India is designating Canada as a terrorist nation because Canada is harboring Khalistani terrorists. And India is saying that we will cancel your OCI cards and BIO cards of people who are accused of Khalistani. And because of that, now Canada is forced to act on radical gurudwaras. You must have seen videos where some of the gurudwaras which had put up posters asking for the assassination of Indian leaders are now forced to take it down. So, and this is a Bharat that is not afraid to act. This is a Bharat that is not afraid to flex its muscles. And this is a Bharat that says that yes, we have arrived and we will take our place under the sun.
Okay.
Now, this is something that nobody else likes.
Or expected also.
Yeah, expected and not liked also. So they will try 1,000 different ways to try to cut Bharat down to size. And one of the ways is basically try to destabilize Bharat from within.
Okay.
So that is why they will publish fake news about minorities being under threat. A small incident like one church somewhere attacked by one drowned man will suddenly become international news. And they will completely ignore the kind of atrocities done against them because it does suit their narrative. And they will, keep publishing atrocity literature. They keep publishing stuff that basically hurts India's interest in all possible things. And it is going to happen. And China has pumped in tremendous amount of money, and we all know that. They have done that in the US as well. And obviously, there are publications in India, and this news is out in public domain, that have been paid by China basically to publish news items which are inimical to India's interests. So this will continue. It's not that it won't continue. It is up to the government of Bharat to crack down on this, and it is up to the citizens of India to be able to see the wheat from the chaff, to separate the wheat from the chaff, and to figure out that this is happening because the world does not want Bharat to rise.
Okay. So, you spoke very briefly about the Pakistani elements and the Chinese elements. That is the external threats which is available to our nation. But inside our nation, we have the anti-India mindset. Rather than, I would say, like the anti-BJP mindset is becoming anti-India mindset as such. So I think we'll start from the media sector because it is both of our favorite area, I would say. So media, when it comes to media, you have been there for a very long time analyzing all these issues. Tell me that whether this mindset have been there for a very long time, this anti-India mindset have been there for a very long time, or it have been slowly constructed after 2014. So what is their idea actually?
So the anti-India mindset has always existed. The mindset that, see, media in India typically before 2050, long time before 2050, was run by a very small Western educated elite who went to schools like St. Stephen's or who studied at Doom schools, who graduated from LSE. They knew each other. Their parents were bureaucrats. So they were all from the Delhi power circle. And they were the ones who joined this channel and that channel. In fact, NDTV had a stated policy, and this is again information public domain. They would hire as new rookie journalists people only from very well-known backgrounds, like kisi ka baap is a senior secretary or some industrialist or somebody who is very clued into the Delhi power structure. Only their children, they would hire as journalists and they would give them fat salaries. Not because they were very brilliant journalists or they had a lot of potential in them, but because they were Papa Ki Paris and Papa Ke whatever, sweet boys, and Papa had contacts in the power structure. So this is how media built a very closely controlled clique. And that old elite of the media, and I can give you so many names, are now in very dire straits post 2014.
Okay.
See, where all of them have ended. There was a time when these people could host their awards functions in the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Now they are sitting in the Smashak Bhumi, sitting on a stool and with a laptop in front of them, and they are doing a podcast from that place. They are all YouTubers now. Ravish Kumar, somebody is a YouTuber, somebody else is a YouTuber. Now, everybody, it's like a trend. You quit NDTV and you start your own YouTube channel. So it's like a big climb down. There are people like Kavir Sanvi, who has been thoroughly discredited, or people like Karan Thabar, who has been thoroughly discredited, people like Rajit Sardesai even, who has been called a sold-out journalist for more times than I can remember. I mean, if I had a rupee for every tweet that basically badmouths Rajit Sardesai, I would probably have a nice little retirement fund in my kitty.
Okay.
But the order is changing, and now at least in audio-visual media, that is in television news, you have big names who are not afraid to take up the Hindu cause. You have people like Anand Narsivan, you have people like Nanisha Kumar, you have people like Rahul Shivshankar, you have Arnab who has broken all traditional methods where corporates controlled TV channel and journalists only worked for it. So there were a lot of, corporate interests being taken care of in the running of the channel. Now, Arnab is a journalist and he has his own channel, and he has his own channel now in multiple languages, and he's diversifying. And that is how it should be. Journalists should own media, not corporate houses, because corporate houses have their own pulls and own checks and balances while running the media outlet. So what the social media has done, first of all, it has given a platform to anybody.
Yeah.
Today you have a YouTube channel. You're not a third generation scion from a old politician from Tamil Nadu. You are starting out on your own and you are proving yourself only on your content. There is no godfather that you have, right? So this is the platform that is equal. I mean, okay, I have a channel on YouTube. Ex-NDTV journalist has a channel on YouTube. Both are of an equal form. And okay, maybe initially the more people will go to watch his show or her show. But when they realize that you have a better content, they will eventually shift. In that sense, it has democratized the discourse. And that is something that the old media elite cannot digest. So who are the people who are consistently criticizing this government, this country, this way of life? You would see that they're all the old elite.
Okay.
They're the people, who have been around in media for donkeys years.
Yeah.
Now they're have-beens. Nobody really
Case.
cares for their views anymore. And
Okay.
people watch that because they want to mock them. So if you see the comments, and which is the actual reaction of the audience to what they're saying, you will find that if there are 1,000 comments on a show, out of them 900 comments will be telling that you are pathetic and we don't like it and you're such a loser. And they'll be criticizing, and there'll be 100 comments who are saying that, wow, great show. So that tells you that India's audience is matured and India's audience now has options, which is a very, very good thing. That is what democratization of discourse is all.
Okay.
And that is what the social media is.
Okay, I would like to make I would like to draw an end here, Shefali. So these people have been with the government. The most of the names which you
Yes.
mentioned have been with the government. They have been in foreign travels before 2014, I would
Yes.
say. But after 2014, are they? Did they forget that the anti-Indian narratives are different from anti-Modi narratives? So they sometimes they are seen to be pro-China, pro-West, sometimes even pro-Pakistan, I would say, during the Balakot or Modi strike, I would say. And so they have been like attacking Modi, so they forget that they are attacking Bharat also.
Yes.
So because like Modi is not a party person anymore, he's a prime minister of the nation. Did they forget that and they stood on this side?
Not just that, they have equated Modi and BJP with anything Hindu. So anything Hindu they have a problem with because they are equating it with BJP and Modi.
Okay.
Where the actual thing is much bigger. Like for example, when the new Sansad Bhavan was inaugurated, when the Adinam Swamis were called there and when the Sengol was ceremony handed over, that is not BJP's private agenda. That is not Modi's private agenda. He is going there as the Prime Minister of a nation. He is democratically elected. He does not represent only the Hindus. It is an assertion of Bharat's cultural superiority, Bharat's cultural heritage. And if these guys had any sense, they would also say, yes, this is a wonderful thing that Bharat is reclaiming its heritage. But they won't do that. So they have said that anything that's nationalist is Modi, anything that is Hindu is Modi, anything that is good for Bharat is Modi, anything that is saying that Bharat is a great country is Modi. So they are the ones who are equating Modi with India.
Okay.
BJP is not saying Modi is India. It is these people, Modi's enemies, who are equating Modi and Bharat. And they are saying that anything that is good for Bharat is bad only because Modi has done it. And that is sad. But that is, it is just their verified view, You ask any person on the streets and you ask them, take a random survey and say 5 things since 2014 that have made your life better. And they will tell you. There may be BJP voters or not, I don't know. They may be they may be very Hindutva oriented or not, I don't know. But they will tell you. They will tell you about toilets. They will tell you about digital payments. They will tell you about Jatnan Yojana. They'll tell you about Vande Bharat. They'll tell you about metros. They'll tell you about a multitude of things that has actually made a difference to their lives. Right? So people realize, the voters realize, we voters did realize, even in 2019, these guys had put all their might together and they had this whole thing about Chowkidar Chor Hai. And that is a laughable campaign because you may disagree with Modi ji on many things. You may not like him on many things, but no one, not even Modi has sworn anything, will accuse him of personal corruption. That is a stupid plan to play.
No.
And Rahul Gandhi did play it, and you know that he failed spectacularly. So much that he himself lost his seat from Amethi and he had to run away to Wayanad.
No.
So the voter of this country is actually far more sensible than the so-called journalist elite or your thought leaders or your, intellectuals. Recently, I saw a talk by Ramchandra Guha, who claims himself to be a historian. Even though he has a degree in sociology, I don't know how that qualifies him to be a historian. But let that be. So he is saying that these are the reasons, and his whole talk is about how India will never be a superpower. That. The second part is more shocking. He's saying why India should not become a superpower.
Okay.
This is a guy who holds an Indian passport, who is a voter in India, who is actually going to an international forum, and he is saying India should not become a superpower.
Okay.
If this is not being anti-India or anti-Bharat, I don't know what it is. How can you say that you do not want your country to not become a superpower? And that too on a
Foreign
which is on a forum that's outside. Nowhere would you see that. You go to any Western democracy in the world, they fight very bitterly amongst themselves. There is a ruling party, there is an opposition, they accuse each other of corruption. There are 10 times they will accuse each other of many things. But when the country is attacked or the country's leadership is attacked on foreign soil, they are supposed to be together and they're supposed to fight together as citizens of that country. Fight together as in not physically, even as intellectually. And they're supposed to stand up for their
sovereignty, pride.
Exactly. And just recently, when this whole Trudeau fiasco was happening, the opposition leader of Canada, Pierre Poilievre, he actually made a statement that all things aside, no Canadian would like to see their prime minister getting humiliated or the foreign service. And this is exactly how it should be. But only in India, we have these elite in every field. Elite isn't, they're no longer the elite. They still think they're elite, but their moment is gone. But they still think that they own the sun and the moon and the stars. So they are the ones who do not want the country to rise. It's not the average citizen of the country. The average citizen of the country is very proud of what they've done. And tomorrow, if Trudeau provides the proof that India did engineer the killing of Snitcher in Canada, people will burst crackers.
Sure.
Because they'll be very happy and very proud. And they'll give Modi ji a few 4 seats in the 2024 Lok Sabha election. That is what is going to happen. So the ordinary people are very patriotic. Ordinary people are very happy about the way India is being perceived by the world, the way India's leaders are being perceived by the world. They are very happy with the changes that have happened in their lives. It is these few elites in the media, in the academia, in the old, literary circles. They are the ones who are saying that we do not want Bharat to rise. But unfortunately or unfortunately, it doesn't matter what they say. We don't care. Washington Post or New York Times or Economist can write 15 different things saying that India should stay down. And Economic Times actually did write an article recently saying that if India did eliminate Niger on foreign soil, then all the Western democracies need to ask the government of India some hardware.
Okay.
Now, Economic Times thinks it gets serious to India. But what about the US taking up Osama bin Laden? What about the US taking up Ayman Zawahiri? Did they ask the world to ask questions to the US? No. Because when the US does it, it's okay. When Israel does it, it's okay. When China does it, it's okay. So basically, it's like the world respects might. And if you are strong enough, and if you have a strong leader who says that I don't care what the world perceives about me, but my interest is going to make my country a very powerful country, and that is the only thing you need. So these things are going to happen, and this, I am actually very happy that these so-called disgruntled elite are equating Modi ji with Bharat. Because the ordinary people sees it. No,
But
Ordinary person sees it that anything that is good for India, you're criticizing it because you're against Modi and it's done by Modi. So one day Bharat trains you will criticize because you don't brought it by Modi. Toilets you criticize because you brought it by Modi. The Barapod airstrikes you criticize because they were done by Modi. So
even Jaishankar speaks on a foreign soil on an Indian interest they are criticizing.
so everything that is good for Bharat, if you are going to criticize saying that just because it's done by Modi, then you are digging your own grave. And the people of the country are seeing it now. The students are seeing it. You ask the students who are going from the US, from India to any other country, see how they are treated now, see how they are perceived now. So it's a huge mind shift from the way Bhartiyas are being perceived nearly 3 or 4 decades ago. The world is sitting up and taking notice of Bharat. The world is sitting up and taking notice of how powerful we have become. And that nobody can deny.
Got it. I would like to add up one more question in media, then we go to other sectors and like students union and how cinema influenced the anti-Indian narratives as such. So the INDA Alliance has named 14 anchors and said that we will not take part in
Yes.
the shows which have been hosted like these anchors as such. And you have named the certain names as such because BJP has been in this mainstream media for all these years,
Yeah.
and they have not mentioned anything like this. They go to the show and they're exposed them. Like recently, even Sishat Punawala, I think he did that with Rajdi. So this is the kind of thing which has to be done. But why is this India Alliance naming this kind of a people? Are they trying to portray that, okay, look, if you call them anti-India or a Congress spokesperson like that, look, we will also call you like this, BJP spokespersons or BJP supportive journalists. So at the end of the day, we are the common people. Like I would say, we, the sense people are the common people who want to know the news actually, what is happening. Like if both the parties, like I would include BJP also in this, okay. So BJP or Congress does this. So what will be the people's think about the perspective about the media?
People, people are stupid.
Okay. They realize us, they know that.
They watch the TV debates, they know what is going on. And this thing about the Congress putting out a blacklist, it tells you on one hand they're talking about tolerance, they're talking about press freedom, they're talking about freedom of expression. But they are saying that we are not going to talk to you because you are critical of our policies, And if you see the list, it practically includes all the top guys in the TRP. So basically they're saying that, okay, everybody is popular, is a Modi agent. It is that kind of logic. So where I want to go on the YouTube channel run by Ravi Shauri somewhere, okay, fine. You are digging your own grave. No, I don't think it's a big issue. In fact, it is laughable. And if you see the reaction of the 14 anchors on this, they've all walked in, they've all laughed it. They've not become sad or morose or, they've taken it to art. They're saying that, okay, if that's your choice, that's your choice.
Okay.
So you are letting go of letting the people of India know about your policies, about your stand on certain issues, because you're afraid to talk to certain anchors. That shows that you are scared, not that the anchors are bad. And people of India are definitely not stupid. And now they have access to all sorts of shows. They have access to all sorts of opinions. So it's not like earlier, कि एक ही दूरदर्शन था. There was one दूरदर्शन पे one World Tech Week show by NDTV and one Pranay Roy coming in telling you things that you didn't have a choice. Now I have like 1,000 shows to choose from, either on TV, mainstream TV channels or on YouTube channels or on web-only kind of news series. Why do I care whether Congress goes to this person or that person does? Another 2 terms at least. Only then with the strong chokehold on media, academia and films of these pro-left, anti-Hindu, anti-Bharat narratives will become less. So that is one thing. That is something that all of your listeners should be absolutely clear of. Secondly, when you talk about the old media mafia, and I call them media mafia only, because they controlled the narrative so rigidly that anything that was, slightly pro-Hindu was very ruthlessly curtailed right at the base. But now what is happening is, now you have filmmakers like Vivek Agrawal, now you have filmmakers like Sudeep Sen, who are making technically good,
Content
popular movies, content-oriented movies that are telling stories that nobody dared to tell stories before. Like Vivek Agnihotri made Buddha in a traffic jam on urban nationalism. He made Kashmir Files on the
Tashkent
plight
Files.
of the Kashmir Tashkent Files in the death of Lal Bahadur Shastri. He made Kashmir Files on the plight of the Kashmiri Hindus and their genocide, which happened in a living memory. It happened as 50 years ago, but there was no chronicling of it. That story was never told. So Vivek Agnihotri took a risk and he made a really good movie, and the movie became a commercial success, not because other film media or PR backed it, but because it resonated with the people of Bharat. That is a fact. Because both Vivek Agnihotri and Sudipta Sen had to face a unspoken boycott from the typical filmy elite for both their movies. Even now, Sudipta is not getting a OTT slot because the powers that
Kerala
are
Story.
controlling Kerala Story, the powers that are controlling, they do not want his movie to go on OTT, because if it goes on OTT, it goes into everybody's phones and everybody can watch it at any time you want, and it is there for eternity. Even 15 years down the line, if you want to watch Kerala Files, Kerala Story, you can do it on OTT, which you cannot do in the movie also. So they are still fighting tooth and nail. That is why, despite being such a huge commercial success, Kerala Story, Kerala Files, Kerala Story,
Kerala Story. Kashmir Files.
yeah. Kerala Story has not gone to OTT. Similarly, even for Kashmir Files, first of all, initially, film critics, they refused to even review the Kashmir Files. And finally, when the movie started becoming popular, they were forced to review it. So they reviewed it and they gave it all sorts of bad names and said that it's a very propaganda movie, this movie, that movie. But anyway, Vivek Agnihotri was vindicated when the movie became so popular. It became one of the highest grosses. So a narrative is certainly changing. People are hungry to know about what really happened to Hindus, and there will be many such movies which will talk about things that have never been spoken about, like the Mokla massacre of the Hindus, like the riots in 1971, and the horrible way in which Raprapaz also. Every state in India has a tragic story. There will be movies about Goan Inquisition. There will be movies about the temples being destroyed in Goa. It will happen. And if the movie is made well, and now there are good filmmakers on our side as well, and now there are people willing to stick their neck out and finance those movies, and obviously there is an audience. There is an audience. That is why both Kashmir Files and Love Stories became such huge commercial hits. So now even filmmakers will start taking more and more risks, and these stories will be told. But it will not happen overnight, and it will still be a fight, in the sense the established order is in a year they make 1,000 movies. Out of them, maybe 20 may be made telling our stories, while the others will be either purely commercial, or they will be certainly putting in the woke ideas or the pro-liberal ideas. That will happen. That will change only with time. That will change only slowly.
Okay. For the past 4 to 5 years, I would say, the right or the Indic ecosystem have been fighting against the left take in the theatrical side, I would say. For all these years, have we made to watch, like, okay, look, this guy is a hero, and they would portray some of the dons as a hero, and they would portray some of the terrorists as in a good face of manner, and say, are we like made up to watch all these things for the past, I would say, 60 to 70 years after independence?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's obvious that the movies that were made, and in which the Hindu is always the villain.
Okay.
It is either the evil Banya or the evil Brahmin priest, or somebody. The villain will have a very visible pro-Hindu identity. He will wear a tilak, he will wear a saffron stole or whatever, and there always be a good Muslim Samaritan, somebody who is either a hero is frightened, or who will help the hero, or who it's very clear that there are these typical stereotyped characters. So that is why in Sholay, you have that guy who is played by A.K. Hamid. Now, if the village is so predominantly Hindu, and there's only one Muslim father and one Muslim son, why do they need to have a mosque? In real life, would they need a mosque in such a village?
No.
but it showed there was a mosque. Why? Because you want to show that this guy is good, he is the part of the bigger ecosystem of the village, and that is something that has been happening subtly for a very, very long time. And you're very right about the glorification of history sheeters. So smugglers are heroes. Terrorists are heroes, underworld dons are heroes, and they are shown as people who have very good art, but only their circumstances force them to take to crime and things like that. But even that is changing, and but change doesn't happen overnight, and still largely the narrative is still controlled by anti-India forces, even particularly in Bollywood, and it is going to be an uphill fight. But what I find most interesting is there are newer filmmakers who are coming in from our side who are daring to take risks and who are daring to tell stories that have never been talked about. And they know that there is an audience if you make a good movie. And both the Kashmir Files and Kerala Story are.
Okay. So I'll come to the bigger part of education, I would say. So we have been, we have a number of universities, we have a number of schools, but once if educated mind is corrupted with all sort of education which he does, then his entire country looks against for him actually. So I would ask you where did the education system look corrupted, I would say, because we are in Pune right now. So I think in much of the history we learned about Bal Gangadhar Tilak or Savarkar or maybe I would say Shivaji to an extent. We didn't know much about Shivaji or the names I mentioned, but we know about Britishers. They came, they looked at, and they did this for a long time. And for a very long time, the falsification or the glorification of the false history have been made. And like as you mentioned, Ramchandra Pugha, like in his writings or in his book. So because people prepare for UPSC refer his books mostly. So he has written other whatever history which he wants actually. So why did this happen? And still we are not able to do, or we are not able to change the portion which we have been taught like from schools, like I would say. So what needs to be done? And I would ask you. And the other thing is education. As I earlier mentioned, so once educated mind is corrupted, then the whole country's narrative changes, right? So what needs to be done? And who is responsible for all these things? Congress or the left ecosystem, or who is responsible for all this corruption made in the education system?
Both are responsible, the Congress and the left, more the left.
Perfect.
Because there was a time when the left supported the Congress government from the outside, and they said that in return, we asked for only one ministry, and that is the education ministry. And that minister, what his name? He was a
Abul Kalam, sir.
No, some other guy.
Okay.
The Communist Party.
Okay.
And that is when the first major restructuring of the history textbooks happened.
Got it.
And that is where all the references to the ancient Hindu Buddhas were taken out, and they were just one line mentions. And the entire Mughal genealogy got like 4 pages in the textbooks of all the states. So the tragedy is only Tamil Nadu people, and that was a small section, would tell you the correct genealogy of Rajarajan Chola. They'll be able to tell you that Rajendra Chola was the son of Rajarajan Chola. But you ask a person from North India who is the son of Rajarajan Chola, chances are they will not be able to tell. But any child from any school in India will be able to tell you that Aurangzeb was Shah Jahan's son.
Got it.
Or Jahangir.
The timeline was perfect.
Yes. So everybody knows that Akbar ka beta, Jahangir, Akbar ka beta, Humayun ka beta, Akbar ka beta, whatever, that whole genealogy. And it is so pathetic that some company uses it as a jingle for a soap. They would not choose, I don't know if you've seen that ad. The ad is for Pia's soap. And where the mother is teaching her daughter history, and she's saying ki Akbar ka beta ye hai, uska beta ye hai. That is what she's teaching her daughter. She's not teaching her about Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. She's not teaching her about Jhansi Ki Rani. She's not teaching her about Rajaraja Chola or the Chalukyas or Raja Dahir or any of the great Hindu kings. But they are teaching the children, and this is being shown on TV in the form of an ad, in form of a very catchy jingle, which is done in very musically, so children would learn to hum it. But the point is, they would never consider doing this for Hindu kids. And this is because our history textbooks have completely ruined us first generation. I don't know how I survived. I don't know how you survived. Probably because our homes were strong enough and our homes gave us the right narrative. Our homes ensured that we knew about the right history. That is why we survived. But it is very difficult because day in and day out, you're listening to this false history and you're listening to this glorification. So you are told that, oh, Mughals were great rulers who came to India. They gave us Tanma, they gave us biryani, and they gave us Mughal gardens. But who's going to talk about the jizya tax? Who's going to talk about the destruction of temples, starting from the Ram Janmabhoomi Mandir destroyed by Babur to the temples destroyed by Aurangzeb, including Kashi Vishwanath at Mathura? Why is there no mention of it? Why are you telling us that Mughals made great contributions to art and literature and fashion and whatever? They did. I'm not saying they didn't. But they also were completely bigoted, completely religion-blind people who did a great injustice to the Hindus of this country. Who's going to talk about that? So that is something that needs to be corrected. And I would, if you ask me the progress of the Modi government since 2014, I would say in this one regard, they have been very much wanting.
Okay.
It is changing now because of the NEP, and now they have constituted a new board for NCRD, which has people like Sundar, good people who will take a dispassionate look at history. So that is changing now, but it will take some time to bring it into effect. But they also had their compulsions. I'm sure they did. I'm not saying that because when a government is in power, it has to look at 1,000 things. But the Congress doesn't look at consequences. Whenever the Congress comes into power, from day two, they start implementing their agenda, regardless of everything, like they did in Karnataka. Day one, the Congress came to power. Day two, they started filing cases against Hindu activists. That is...
And remove the anti-conversion law.
Yeah. So whatever. In silver states. But what I'm trying to say is, make a bigger point.
Okay.
So Congress comes to power, so on day two, they start implementing their original agenda.
Okay.
That is something that the BJP needs to be more proactive about.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that in 2024, assuming that the BJP comes to power with a very big majority, they will start implementing this cultural agenda, because this needs to be done yesterday. If we have to save our future generation, we need to teach them well.
Okay, fine. Coming to this college ecosystem, I would say. So we have been seeing that the debates on the JNU or the students being from the JNU, like Boomer Khalid or others, so who have those anti-India narratives, and they also judge themselves with that kind of narratives, and they are very proud with that their narrative. So what makes these students to speak on anti-India narratives, and like say a person like me wouldn't like to go there or have some debates with those persons, I would generally suggest. So what does that they are showing to the external world, to our people, the other parts of Bharat, are like, okay, look, we are in this standards, like our standard is this only. So what are they portraying actually?
It's very simple. No, what are they portraying and why they are doing it? It's simply because these are very selfish people who see money and fame, quick fame against whenever they start peddling any Indian narrative. It's very easy to get a scholarship to the best universities in the US if you peddle some atrocity literature and link anything to caste. So you can write a paper on how Sambar is casteist, and you can get a PhD scholarship in some top university in the US, whether it's true or not. You add word caste discrimination, Dalit, whatever, anti-Hindu, anti-minority, and these are the keywords that you need to put in liberally into your writings, and your path to academic success is assured. Secondly, many of these liberal arts and humanities universities, the faculty is very core anti-Hindu, anti-Bharat, anti-everything that is good.
Okay.
So they have a lot of pressure, and they have been there.
Why? The thing is, like,
I already talked about this earlier. No, that they have been in this for the past 20 years.
even there are the faculties who are teaching for IAS, ITS also. That's why the entire bureaucrat system was also big.
But that's just, I've already referred to it.
Okay.
The system is so deeply entrenched. Have you removed every possible professor who's teaching I got an idea.
Got it.
No, you may have replaced the top guys, but how it takes time to trickle it down to the bottom.
Okay, so that's how he's put. That's how you told the next two terms for after the PGP.
So you can change the vice chancellor of JNU, and they now, and it has made an effect. But are you going to sack every professor in NGO in JNU who has had anti-India views? You may eventually, once the charges are proved. But that's a lengthy process, no? You cannot do that. So you start from the top and you eventually work your way down to the bottom. But till the last department, till the last faculty, till the last system is dismantled, how can you ensure that the students who are getting in are getting an OD? And JNU is not even a problem. JNU then are always been at least two sides. There are enough faculty members who have been pro-Bharat also. The real worry is that these private universities who charge their students an obscene amount of money. Obviously, the parents who are able to afford that kind of education are very rich people who have been beneficiaries of capitalism, who have been beneficiaries of the progress of Bharat. But their children go there, they pay 15 lakhs a year, they go to these schools, and there they are taught that to be rich is bad. Okay, but are they willing to sacrifice their own riches? No. It is like that Booker Prize winner lady who has a 5-bedroom house in South Delhi and who has a tribal servant to come and serve tea, and she talks about tribal rights. If you value tribal rights so much, then you do your own tea and serve it. No. Why get a tribal lady servant to do it? So this kind of hypocrisy will always be there. The Mercedes Marxists, the children who were dropped to the college by their parents in a Mercedes, and they will come to the campus and they'll talk about how wealth is bad and how Adani is a thief, or how Ambani is thief, or how all the big industries are bad. That is sheer hypocrisy.
So one last question, Shefali. So as we start by speaking about the external influences of Canada and China, so what are the other challenges for Bharat, like be it China or the Pakistan? But nowadays Pakistan is ready like anything. What are the other external challenges? Like we heard the name that George Soros have been taking the anti-India directives, and from our Bharat, like people like Rahul Gandhi go out and speak ill about Bharat in a very positive manner. What are the challenges which have been from the external, or let me put it this way: is the challenges more in internal or in external?
Okay, I will tell you the single biggest challenge to Bharat is the change in demography.
Okay.
Everything else, even if you can manage, the demography is still a ticking bomb. And that is something that needs to be addressed. So you need to have a population control bill or some sort of law, which sort of
Anti-conversion bill.
Anti-conversion bill, anti-population population bill. Because everything else remains the same. And you have seen Muslim here saying that in 50 years, okay, today you're building a Ram temple, and these people have gone on record saying this. They are actually saying that, okay, today you'll build a huge Ram temple. In 50 years, when the population changes, who's going to protect it? So that is the elephant in the room. That is the biggest challenge to Bharat. Everything else you can fight, and everything, all other battles you can win. This is something that you should be paying attention to. One. Secondly, obviously, nobody wants a resurgent Bharat, but that will happen. That I'm not too worried about. Okay, whatever Soros might do, whatever editorials Economic Times might write, whatever editorials New York Times might write, we don't really care. We no longer care. We no longer care for what the world thinks of us. We will do our own thing. We have that much of self-confidence now. So that is there. So I'm not worried about that. But the biggest challenge is the ticking demographic time.
No.
And the convergence.
Oh.
Convergence, at least they are trying to control, particularly the evangelical convergence, by controlling the flow of foreign funds. That's very
NGO banning.
Yeah. So when that dries out, the conversion activity will be reduced. But having said that, particularly in the coastal south, the impact of these conversions is really huge. And when you go there, you will see entire villages.
Are we working on those?
Yeah, entire villages being converted, and it's converted in a very sick manner, where those people will refuse to enter a temple, will refuse to take prasad, will say that Hindu gods are Satans, and this is done quite openly. So that is something that also needs to be tackled.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ty, for your wonderful time, and I hope in future times we'll do more talks like this and bring more of other side of your knowledge to the people also. Thank you so much, Ty. And I will go go on saying this. You are a biggest support to me, so keep supporting. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Jai Shri Ram.